lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Manny.
We are here talking. I think it's safe to say, I'll say it. It's my favorite book that came out this week.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's the only one I've read so far from the week, but I can already tell you it's probably going to be my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget.
Yeah.
For the reason that is for Manny is that I got my books very early. I sent Manny my PDF before this so that we could do this video. But yeah, we're recording on Tuesday of the week this comes out so that we could drop it the day of the release. I've already done a video going through the ash can that I picked up at San Diego Comic-Con, which had no dialogue, it only had, I think, like 10 pages, but I'm super excited for this issue. And I'm not even a huge Transformers fan. So, I mean, I know Transformers, obviously, like there's always been an iteration of Transformers when I was a kid. And I picked up some of those Dreamwave series back in the early 2000s, like that Pat Lee did. Those are cool. This is on another level, dude. Daniel Warren Johnson is easily one of, I'll say it, one of our favorite cartoonists over here.
Absolutely, man.
I don't think
anyone that's watched the channel, has seen us talk about, Beta Ray Bill. You know, we did a video about Do a Powerbomb. We interviewed the guy, and we both listed Do a Powerbomb as one of our favorite books last year, So lots of love for DWJ on the channel here,
And I think it's safe to say this will be on our best of 2023
list.
Yeah.
So, I knew that going in almost.
So look, reuniting with Mike Spicer, they're always collaborating together. Such a great collaboration. Love the cover, but let's just dive into this. This is also tied into the Energon universe stuff that Robert Kirkman is doing with Void Rivals. We're going to get Duke. We're going to get Cobra Commander. I love that they kicked it off with this. I mean, I guess they kicked it off with Void Rivals, which technically, but for the properties of Hasbro that the world already knows, Transformers, I mean, this is genius. Take one of the best talents, in the industry and put them on one of these books. That's how you sell a licensed book, man. Like, this is phenomenal. The pairing is great.
And, it's a good pairing because, I mean, Daniel Warren Johnson he's really good at drawing like ships and robots and stuff. We remember we jokingly told him like he would be great at like a Star Wars Grand Design for that reason. And like this is almost the next best thing, or maybe even better, because the design of Transformers, like the way that they transform, like everything about them lends itself to his particular like artistic talent.
Yeah, I love this particular, like the top panel on page 1 with the helicopters in the sunset. There's something like it's like you're watching a movie. Like,
I was gonna say it's cinematic. It's like the opening of like a big budget Transformers movie. Better than anything Michael Bay has done.
So we're just getting we get little snapshots of everything, right? We see the helicopters, we see the spaceship coming to Earth, we see obviously he's talking
very Star Wars there with the ship, like a Star Destroyer.
And like you see this narration, but it doesn't really correlate with this because you're seeing these two soldiers. One of them's obviously dying. You see Optimus Prime, like these almost like a bullet hole coming out. It looks like he's leaking, but he's not. And then this rocket ship going up into space. And then we come to this bar. Obviously, this kid Spike is going to be, I don't know how to call it, not our entry level into the book, but like I feel like our touchstone, kind of like this is going to be like the heart of the book. Is this
and Spike is a character carried over from the cartoon and like OG comics too,
okay. Yes, I know nothing of that. So it's an interesting, somebody told me that it was almost like he's loosely adapting the first Transformers movie. Is that accurate?
Not really, because I mean the character in the first movie, I think was named like Sam Witwicky, which they carried over into some of the other ones, and like I think that character was loosely based on Spike, but like the family dynamic that you're shown here and stuff, that's all new. I mean, maybe that he's using like a young man, like late teens, I'm guessing Spike here is about 17 or something, like as the protagonist and as our way to be introduced to the Transformers. But other than that, this seems pretty fresh. I'd have to rewatch the cartoon to try and remember what Spike's family situation and stuff was. But I don't think there was a military aspect to it at all. I think that's new. And when we get to that part, that's where my theory is coming in about what I was telling you before we started recording. But
Oh, I'm starting to see what. Okay, I think I might know
Yeah,
what you're doing. So yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I love this. You know, like we've talked about DWJ and his work always having a lot of heart, and instantly you're getting that with this. You know, the relationship between Spike and his dad. He's, you know, obviously he's been through some shit. He's fucking drinking at the bar. I
yeah. And it's a VFW, which I think is important to note too, because it means he was a veteran. So
yeah,
like they're already setting some pieces up. It's a
yeah,
really clever bit of writing to have that in the background. It's
dude.
telling you where they're
The
at.
details of everything in the background.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah,
Just like the bar and like the way he's really putting you in the place.
Spike's leaving, meets up with his friend Carly. Look at that van art, dude.
Dude, that van immediately I was like, all right, so Daniel Warren Johnson is going all in and infusing his DNA into this project because that that is that is a Daniel Warren Johnson thing right there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I mean I want that van. It's like it's such a cool
It
looking van,
is. It's dope, dude. It's fucking awesome.
And now I
And
want to see him draw a barbarian comic like the side of that van too, but
yeah, you know, like and like I love that. Let's go pretend we're off on another planet,
yeah.
and little do they know they're
Little
about
do
to.
they know, yeah.
Yeah. So like they're going up into the mountains, which is, I mean, I mean, based on this little sign right here, it's like a state park, park, something of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah, they're going to look at a rocket launch, I believe, right? That's
Yeah.
what they were talking about. Yeah,
But
so
they're
they're
it,
sneaking into it.
and it's cool, dude, because they're talking about like, you know, the relationship between Spike and his dad and Carly. Like, we don't really know how long this friendship goes, but obviously they're very close because they're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about some really personal stuff. And then
yeah,
we get this fucking the sound effects here coming in.
yeah.
So
There's
many
like
different the rumble. I love that, dude.
it's like an earthquake, and they fall through, and then of course we get the big reveal coming up.
That spaceship we saw in the beginning.
One thing I love about Daniel Warren Johnson is like the way he shows like the scale of
Yeah,
his
that's what I was
ships
just
and
pointing
sets.
at.
Yeah,
Like Spike and Carly, look how tiny they look.
yeah. It just really sort of like makes everything seem so huge and like as it would be, something like a ship that's going to carry Transformers are already huge. You can only imagine what a ship for them would be like. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing, and he does that a lot. Like you've seen him do it, like in Beta Ray Bill when he draws like the ship's huge, and then you see the figures real small for perspective. It's one
Hmm.
of the things I love best about him. And look at all the detail in those engines. I mean, amazing, man, amazing. Like
I know, dude.
it's
Well, he's
Jeff
obviously
Darrow type stuff going on over here.
he is obviously doing this is I mean, he says it in the back of the book in the letter that he writes to us, the reader, you know, like how Transformers, like how much it means to him, how it's always been kind of been there, a part of his like fandom, if you will. Um,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
and
same.
like in the back of that ash can too, talks about like the way drawing the Transformers for him was weird because like how do you put like fluid motion when it's like very sharp angular like
Hmm.
objects, right?
That's a
And
good
so he
point. Yeah.
decided to go with like a looser line. And you can see that
Yeah.
in here because they do feel like as blocky as the Transformers are, especially the OG ones, and you know, not the like newer generations. But he gives them so much life, and I think that I never really saw as much of that in some of the older Transformers comics. I haven't really
Not
read
at
the
all.
Marvel, but like he's bringing something completely fresh and new to the table, and I love
It's
that.
very true. You can see it in the line work. Like it is. It's like some of the lines aren't even perfectly straight.
Mhm.
Which I love. Like you said, it gives them life. It gives them like fluidity, which is something I think that's gonna make you connect with them as characters. More. I mean, as
Yeah,
children, as a kid, I obviously I connected because you're a kid. As an adult, it's harder to find an emotional connection with like Optimus Prime, but he's doing it here. Like I mean, that's a real striking image with all the Transformers are destroyed, and you see Autobots and Decepticons
you
in
know,
here, so you know some.
I didn't notice this in the very background. Like you see this ship kind of flying in.
Yeah, and that's Jetfire.
Yeah, but you don't I didn't notice that on the first read, you know?
I didn't either. I didn't either. Actually, that's a you mentioning it is the first time I noticed it.
Yeah.
Again, the small details giving you the scale of the scene. Like it's amazing, man. It's amazing. There's
Jetfire.
something amazing on every page.
Yeah, and then we get Jetfire like basically waking them up and healing them, right? And so like all the parts like start floating in the air and coming back. And the first one, Jetfire, you know, wakes up. is Starscream.
Right.
I have not seen you for centuries.
Yeah,
Like,
because remember in Void Rivals #1,
yeah,
Jetfire was the first Transformers we saw, and he like transformed and flew away. So obviously this is where he was heading. So
yeah,
now we have the connection.
yeah. Which means that that's taking place around
Now,
the same time. I would imagine.
yeah,
I don't know how long it takes a transformer to fly from a fucking planet,
right. That's
but
true too.
yeah, it's Starscream. Like, is Starscream? Was he always a Decepticon?
I don't know the lore too much.
Okay, because like he
I want
just
to say that
like
I
Jetfire
want to say
is
yes because I think the Decepticons and the Autobots like brought their beef over from Cybertron.
right,
But
but Jetfire's an
if he's
Autobot,
doing
right?
this, yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
so he wakes
So
him
I
up
think yeah,
and then he fucking blows a Bumblebee right in the head, dude. Before Bumblebee's even reactivated too. And like I love this, like the emotion in their faces, like Jetfire's like utter like disbelief and disgust. Like, why did you do that? You know?
yeah.
Don't you see the
And
markings I wear proudly on my wings? Wake up, old friend. We've been at war for the past 100 years. It's just awesome.
yeah, no, it's awesome. And if DWJ is adding that bit of lore, that maybe while Jetfire was away, because I think the idea is that wherever the characters in Void Rivals found Jetfire is where he's been for so long. He
Mhm.
might not be aware that the Decepticon maybe they split. Maybe at one point there was really only one group of Transformers, and then they split, and it must have happened. So because it seems like Jetfire has no idea that Starscream had turned. He
Yeah, because
calls
I
him his
don't
comrade.
see and like I don't see markings on Jetfire, and I don't
Not at
see
all.
them,
No.
you don't see them on Starscream, but you do see them on some of the other. You do see them on the
Yeah.
other Transformers. But again, look at this. Just like the first of all, I'm loving these like speed lines in the background, which just remind me of like 90s stuff. And
Yes.
this POW right here. I mean, this book is just like I you can look at this. And then who gets woken up? Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
This
And
fucking panel, dude, is
And
amazing.
I love that he's like doing like a suplex over it. Like the wrestling is in here, man. Like
Yeah.
these are like I love that he put that in there. It's like basically he's like power bombing him or whatever that's called. Like amazing. And like I
No.
love those little details. Like you see the blur on the lines of Starscream in that top panel when he's getting slammed. Like it just really invokes like the speed and the movement, the impact, the vibration.
Well, yeah, same thing with Optimus Prime, like his arm right
Yeah.
there, how it looks like almost look like on a TV screen when the lines get jagged.
Yeah, dude,
It's
it's
awesome.
awesome, and I don't know if he's done that before. That little technique, I'd have to go look back at some of his books, but
Yeah.
it's a wonderful technique that really makes you feel like that arm is moving, and the perspective is great too. I mean, like you really feel that arm coming at you. You feel the power, like the impact. I mean, he excels at fighting and action scenes as
Yeah.
much as he does anything else. So he's firing on all Autobot cylinders in this book, man.
Then even this right here with Optimus Prime, when he discovers Spike and Carly, like his eyes, like you see
Yeah,
that, like to be able to get
yeah,
that emotion across, like the not the
yeah. There's
shock, but
hurt in
like
his eyes,
yeah,
like and like you're right because I mean, other than his eyes, Optimus doesn't have any expressive detail.
yeah.
So he's making it's in the softness of the lines he's using to draw it too.
I love this too. What are you? Get behind me, small creatures. He just puts them behind.
And I love it. He's
Oh,
really nailing like the Optimus Prime like persona because Optimus Prime is a leader and protector above all things. So like
mm.
I love that he immediately like wants to protect these small fragile creatures, because that's who Optimus is.
Mhm. I love that he uses like smelting as if it's like a cuss word. Smelting
Oh
Autobot.
yeah.
Ah, here we go, dude. I love this.
And then Ratchet,
Yeah,
kicking Starscream.
yeah.
And I do love also that he's keeping the personality of Starscream because Starscream was always like a little bitch too back in the day, like
Yeah, well, as somebody that didn't like necessarily watch those, it comes across well. Starscream is a little
yeah.
bitch. So
He's
if
he's
that's
awful. Yeah, he's awful, and he's putting him exactly as he should in this book. Yeah.
yeah. So like this is what I don't know. Like Teletran, is that like the what's bringing them back?
I think that's like the ship's like
Okay,
AI. I don't
yeah, okay,
remember if that was a thing in the cartoons, It might not have been because it was so long ago. I don't know if people were already like, writing AI like that, but probably because,
Yeah,
you got 2001 and HAL and all that stuff. So yeah, it could be a bit of the lore. I'd have to do some research, but
yeah,
I'm guessing that's what it is. It's like their ship's AI that kind of like the ship in Beta Ray Bill that was kind of, being able to do all these things and stuff like
right.
that.
I love how like Jetfire and Optimus are over here, and like they're like, man, just our luck. The Decepticons got activated first, so there's no real like, how did they get reactivated? Like we don't really explain that. You just see them start coming back. And look, I love that he looks over at his trailer because his
Yeah,
new form has to, there should be some sort of, or
trailer to it. Yeah.
yeah, and then he's like, okay, we're gonna fit them in, and then you see this, and he looks at the gun, go, I'll buy you time, and he just runs after the fucking gun.
No, it's like if you're looking at it like cinematically, this is like an
Yeah.
awesome action scene. It's like
Hmm.
this is like John Wick shit.
Yeah, dude, this is amazing. The coloring in
And
here too is phenomenal.
Mike Spicer is killing it, dude.
Yeah,
I love this panel of Soundwave like being like
yeah.
rebuilt. Like, and Soundwave was also always one of my favorites as a kid. I used to love the toy with the tapes and everything, man. God, I love his lettering too.
Dude,
Like
it's just amazing. I know. It's this scene too. Look at him. As Optimus is
yeah,
over Bumblebee, and
it's heartbreaking, man. And
it
like,
is.
I know he's just a robot, but the idea that he did with like having his face blown up, it's like it's almost gruesome. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's no blood or anything involved, but it's like it's very violent, gruesome, and like shocking. Like
Hmm.
because these are sentient like creatures, and I feel like the Transformers feel as robots. And like look at him cradling Bumblebee. With Spike
Yeah.
there in the foreground, like it's sad as fuck, man. It's really
Yeah.
effective.
And then he just mocks him. Look at this full mourning over the weakest of them all.
Yeah, that's very Starscream, and like I can hear Starscream's voice from the cartoon. Like it's great.
This is great too. Like again, showing the scope. You watch them trying to push that gun over to Optimus as he's like reaching for it. Like that's another
Yeah, I
great
love the
shot.
grapple on that pop panel on the left hand page there. Like, there's
Mhm.
something about the way that grapple that bit of onomatopoeia is drawn that I love.
No, this is
And then
amazing, dude.
Soundwave sending Ravage. Ravage was also one of my favorite Transformers, so I was so glad to see that little robot in this.
This
And
is
then
such
of
a
course,
weird like shot too, but this is what I was talking about. Like you can see those lines have like they're not like perfectly straight, and that makes this so much better to me.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't feel like you're just looking at machines. It makes it feel like
yeah.
you're looking at something that's alive.
Yeah. Like it makes you see like the Transformers movements as very fluid.
Yeah, this is great, dude. As they're
And then
making
of
their
course
escape.
you got that great big panel of Optimus running, gun in
So
hand.
so
Yeah,
good, dude. And then but I love this rollout. That
dude. I
like
mean, you
I
had to
heard
have
that.
it. I was like, you gotta have him say that. Come on now. And as
Now
soon as I saw it, I was like, of course,
that was
yeah,
in my head. I heard the cartoon
yeah.
immediately when I heard him
And you
say
hear
that.
that iconic Optimus Prime voice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is amazing, dude. And you can only imagine like we haven't really talked about it, but like Spike and Carly are just like in this like weird scenario with these like giant
Yeah.
robots.
Like they've had no time, I guess, to really process is the way I'm seeing it. Like because to me this has happened in this has been minutes. Like this is maybe
Yeah.
what 5-10 minutes of shit hitting the fan.
Hmm.
So the world has been rocked, but they have no idea.
I love this too. Like Jetfire was like taken out.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
has to like come back to him. Damn you for making me do this, Starscream. So like I can't wait to like find out more of, because I'd imagine they're going to tell more of the lore, but like why is Jetfire so shocked? Like what took him so long? What happened in between?
yeah,
Because that's why it feels like it's been a long time
yeah.
to me. Like, or either Jetfire got stuck somewhere and buried, right? And it was a
Right.
long, he was there for a long time, or it took him an insanely long amount of time to get from where he was in Void Rivals to get here. Like,
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, it's got to be one of the two.
yeah,
Either Void Rivals is taking place like parallel to these events for the most part, or it took Jetfire hundreds of years because I mean, who knows? Maybe he can't travel like faster than light. Probably
right.
can't.
Probably
So
can't. So
and
now they're
then
just like in this old quarry, right?
yeah, that's the quarry where they mentioned that it's abandoned and they used to play there. So they're obviously probably setting that up as like the Transformers' new base of operations, at least for now.
Dude, but
I
like
love
then
some
look
of
at
the
this. See,
cross hatching being done too on Optimus's head there.
and see what he's saying. He's like, I remember the day you left our home to find a way to save it. And you were so young that much has changed since you left our planet. So it has to have been like a long amount of time. Matrix can heal, but it can't stop the inevitable, and it's talking about like what it can do. So yeah, this is interesting. Then we see that we go back to the Decepticons. I love that, they're talking about how to get more energon.
Yeah,
Was
which
that
I think is what the characters at Void Rivals were also looking for, right?
Yeah, I think so. So,
Yeah.
and like they're saying, oh, the harvesting is up to you, and they're about to say Megatron, but don't say that name. I'm the leader of the Decepticons now.
That's the bit I wanted to say. Like that's when you start seeing like the Starscream like little bitch, because Starscream was always trying to like stab Megatron in the back or like do something to usurp his power, while at the same time like almost being a kiss at. You know what I mean? Like he's very much like I guess like a Iago in freaking Othello from Shakespeare. Like really manipulative, like only about himself. Like he's such a terrible character, and like he really is nailing that personality. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that we haven't met Megatron either yet. I'm glad
Hmm.
that Starscream was the intro, because it just makes for a more entertaining way to enter the story, I think.
Yeah. And these last couple pages, dude, like we get Spike's dad coming out with, this guy Davey, who's his friend, and they walk out and they see Starscream just ripping shit apart, right? And as they're
Yeah.
about to get out of there, he looks down, he's like, Starscream's like, what's this? Grabs him and fucking this final panel,
Dude,
dude.
yeah, dude. That to me, I was like, I've never seen anything like that in a
The
Transformers comic.
first thing I thought was, man, how did Kirkman convince Hasbro to let him do that? Because
That dude, I had that same thought. I'm like, I mean, it's still, not super gory, but like, come on now, we
it
cannot.
is in the sense that the
Yeah,
squish is in blood, you
it
know?
is, and like,
It's not hiding anything.
yeah, like, and you can hear. Look. If you look carefully at the panel where he has Davey, you see like snap, like he's just snapped the dude's spine, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
And he's like, he says it so squishy, so pathetic, and then this evil smile, and then
dude,
it's
that
just over.
face, man, it's just like the glee, like the pure joy and like squashing something weaker, and
Yeah.
like being, it's great, man. Like one of the best debuts, one of the best number ones of the year. One of the best comics I've
Yeah.
read this year so far, man. Like I am full on board, and
Yeah.
if the rest of these Energon Universe books are as good as this, man, I mean, Skybound's got something special.
Oh yeah, dude. I won't say the letter. I think you guys should go out and pick it up. We get the ads for the rest of the Energon universe. You get the next issue of Void Rivals, which is the first four are already out. Get the
Yeah,
cover for number 2, and then like I was saying earlier, there's going to be a Duke book, Cobra Commander book, both written by Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley for art on Duke, and Andrea Milana on art for Cobra Commander. And then we get the continuation of Larry Hama's G.I. Joe, which is going to be issue 301. But they do have a
holy
new
crap.
artist. I'll be picking that up for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
same.
I've read G.I. Joe like, off and on, like throughout
Hmm.
my reading, but I'll definitely pick that up, especially like the preview definitely looks like a very good entry point. So I think if you've never read a G.I. Joe, it's like, even though it's issue 301, you can still jump into it. So highly recommend this. Yeah, go. I mean, it's the best book this week, hands
Yeah.
down. And
And
look, that's not to say there wasn't great stuff, but like I guess
oh yeah,
this lived up to the hype. And it's
it
not
did.
often you can say that.
No. And my theory is real quick. The way it's going to tie into GI Joe is somehow through Spike's brother being in the military. I don't think Spike's brother might even be dead. Perhaps like, or if he is, I think maybe he was part of the Joes, and like I think all the GI Joe and Cobra Commander stuff is obviously going to be, I think, around Energon too, and like humans trying to weaponize it somehow and having discovered it
That
and
makes
something like
sense.
that. So, yeah,
That makes
that's
sense.
what I think, and I think that that's a clever way to do it.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
would feel very organic, and now it makes sense introducing that third property of Void Rivals, because like it's a way to sort of connect the two. Like almost like a bridge if you
Yeah,
think about it.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
it's good, man. It's good. I'm all on board. This book has been added to my pull list, and I can't wait to see what Skybound is doing with this universe they're creating.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
very
it's
excited to
exciting.
see.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've never been a huge G.I. Joe fan. I've never been huge Transformers. I mean, I've been like a fan in passing, like I've always, kind of checked stuff out, but I mean, you put creators that I like on these books, I'm going to check them out. And
Hmm.
this didn't disappoint. I can't imagine the other books disappointing. So if you guys are on the fence, which I don't think you should be, I hope you guys pick this up. Worth every
Yeah.
single penny and more. Just
Yeah.
a phenomenal comic. And while you're at it, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, we're out.
Roll out. We'll see you next time, guys.